Well, with addressing all the problems of quantum mechanics, the weirdness and so on, we forgot one situation which is obviously weird, and that's for a particle which is indeterminate, which really is a superposition. Let's say a particle spin, it's a superposition of up and down, and for that particle to have a past history where it was in a superposition is a contradiction. The past has to be determinate. It cannot be a superposition. It cannot have any determinacy involved. It's got to be a determinate eventually. Well, in my thinking, it becomes determinate when we finally measure its properties, and it becomes now instead of being a superposition, it becomes a up or down particle. And now, and now we have to look back at the past and say, well, the past cannot remain indeterminate. It's got to be determinate. So therefore, and this happens, the speed of light is not even a question. We're talking about going back in time, not necessarily going across space, although it could involve both, but it's going back to its time history and now saying, well, I'm spin up. I didn't know all that time that I was spin up, now I'm spin up. And my co-partner, the other particle B, is spin down, and it's been spin down since it was created. Then we have a situation where an indeterminate past becomes a determinate past. And we think about it, that's good, because we can't go on indefinitely with an indeterminate past. Even though the let's say the spin of the particle is determined when it's first when we measure it, that doesn't change the fact that it's still in classical. In classical quantum mechanics, it still remains indeterminate in its past. That can't be. No one seems to have recognized that that's a problem. To have a particle which is a superposition in the past and remains indeterminate is a contradiction. So that once we know from our measurements that a particle, for example, has spin up, then it's got to be spin up throughout its history. So in a sense, it's funny because in a sense here, both Einstein and Schrodinger are correct in that the particle was indeterminate, and yet it had properties all along. So we've changed the past. And not really changed the past, but we've gone from an indeterminate past to one which has now a determinate character. And that's the way it has to be. And that happens instantaneously once we determine the spin of the particle. Excuse me.